Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news throughout the day that I come across, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician within the near future. Hope all of you guys are doing well on this wonderful Friday, I believe. It is June 13th. Yeah, and I hope everything's doing well. No King's Day parades are tomorrow, as well as the Trump birthday parade. I'm just going to call it that because that's what it is. Let's be real on that one. Um, and outside of that, the weekend's coming up. So hopefully you all enjoy your weekend. Hopefully we don't have too many stressful things going on throughout the country. But of course, if things do happen, I will be there to provide you guys with the news updates throughout the weekend. But yeah, with that being said, thank you all for tuning into this episode. Let's get right into it. Jeez. Okay. Moving into the Trump administration segment today, we have one topic to cover as Trump says the United States will support Israel. Of course, over the past 24 hours, essentially, Israel has attacked Iran unjustly due to claiming that they have nuclear capabilities. They do not. They only have nuclear energy facilities, no nuclear weapons. But let's get into the news. In a call with CNN, Trump said the United States, of course, supports Israel and called the strike on Iran a very successful attack. Trump said, "We, of course, support Israel, obviously, and supported it like nobody has ever supported it." He would urge Iran to reach a nuclear deal, saying, "Iran should have listened to me when I said, I gave them. I don't know if you know, but I have them a 60-day warning, and today is day 61." In contrast to this, Secretary of State Marco Rubio claims the U.S. had no involvement with the strikes, and the top priority of the United States is protecting American forces, not supporting Israel. These attacks by Israel are unnecessary and unprovoked. Iran has every right to run and maintain their nuclear facilities, and these attacks likely will only provoke the Iranians even more. I'm tired of seeing the United States government sending our troops into the Middle East to attempt and control and dictate these countries. And I'm tired of the relentless support by this government to Israel. Israel is an aggressor and a problem. We should be supporting freedom and prosperity around the world, not supporting the destruction and colonization of it. Anyhow, moving right into the Israel versus Iran, essentially war. I have two topics today. One response, as I figured I would write my response just for a bulk rather than individually for each. So here's what we have. Israel has struck Iran. This is going to be all the news from Israel's side, and then next we will have all the news from Iran's side. Israel has spent the day and night launching attacks against Iran's nuclear and military structures. They have deployed warplanes and drones smuggled into the country to assault key facilities and kill top generals and scientists. This has provoked Iran to return fire. More info on the next article. Israel has struck Iran's capital, hitting key facilities and locations. According to Iran's UN ambassador, 78 people have been killed and more than 320 have been wounded because of the Israeli attacks. According to the Israeli military, 200 aircraft were used to attack over 100 targets. Going right into Iran strikes. In defense of the attacks on their nation, Iran has struck Israel with multiple attacks. Iran has fired hundreds of ballistic missiles towards Israel and plans to intensify the attacks and target regional bases of countries trying to defend Israel. An Iranian official told CNN, "Iran reserves the right under international law to respond decisively to this regime. Any country that attempts to defend the regime against Iran's operations, in turn, will see its regional bases and positions become new targets." Moving right in on to my opinion segment or whatever you call it. This is an attack on Iran and their rights as a country. Iran has not developed or created any nuclear weapons and seemingly had no interest in doing so. I don't know if that remains the same. Yet Israel has unfairly attacked the country, killing many. Israel likely intends to drag the United States into this war, and whether they succeed or not, we will likely see the death of many young American men, something that shouldn't be the case. Call your senators, tell them we must not support this war. It is in the best interest of the American people to stay out and away from the Middle East because it, time and time again, not only causes problems, but we are sending young American men to die for no reason. I mean, oil may be essential, but it's not more important than the lives of our troops and the lives of our people. Moving right on into our court segment today, as there's been a few lawsuits throughout the day. A Ninth Circuit court has issued a stay pausing the return of the National Guard control to California. Of course, yesterday, after the news recap was uploaded, a federal court did rule that the National Guard's control had to return to the state of California, but now that has been blocked. A federal appeals court has paused the ruling requiring Trump to return California's National Guard to the state. Previously, it had been ruled that Trump had to return control to the state, a significant win for the state, but the U.S. Circuit Court has put that on pause. The Circuit Court will have a hearing on Tuesday with two judges. Two of them being, or three judges, my apologies, two of them being Trump judges and one Biden judge. Trump would thank the appeals court in a true social post, saying, "If I didn't send the military into Los Angeles, that city would be burning to the ground right now. We saved LA. Thank you for the decision." Trump has not saved LA. He is continuing to make the situation worse day after day. California has historically not given in to oppressors, and we will not start today. The people are peaceful, and the government is causing a problem. We must not allow this attack on our people to continue. So, if you are in DC tomorrow witnessing the parade that Trump is hosting, ruin it. Stand in front of it. Of course, do that in a safe manner that doesn't get you killed or arrested, but don't let Trump destroy our country. He is an attacker that wants to be a dictator. This parade is one of those things that prove it. There is no place for that here. We as the United States have been a humble nation for a very long time. We don't have extravagant, monuments. We don't do military protests, and so many other things. The United States is historically a humble nation, and Trump is not that. He goes against every true American value, and time again is attacking the American people. We mustn't allow for this injustice to continue. Moving right on into some better news, Trump has lost the E. Jean Carroll verdict. Trump has lost a bid challenging a civil jury verdict holding him liable for sexually abusing writer E. Jean Carroll in the 90s and defaming her when she went public with allegations. On Friday, the Second U.S. Circuit Court in New York declined Trump's request to rehear the case. Due to this, Trump will pay Carroll $5 million in damages. Robert Kaplan, Carroll's attorney, said in a statement, "E. Jean Carroll is very pleased with today's ruling. Although Trump continues to try every possible maneuver to challenge the findings with two separate juries, those efforts have failed. He remains liable for sexual assault and defamation." This is great news. It's always nice to see justice for women, especially those who have been harmed by Trump or any man, really. Hopefully, we can see more of this because a man who has done as much damage as Trump has, shouldn't be allowed to walk free, especially if it actively harms women. Moving into some more great news throughout the courts, a judge has blocked Trump's executive order requiring proof of citizenship to vote. A Massachusetts federal judge has blocked Trump's executive order requiring proof of citizenship to vote. Judge Denise Caper has issued a preliminary injunction citing examples of college students or immigrants who don't have access to birth certificates or passports. Casper wrote the executive order, my apologies, would burden the states with significant efforts and substantial costs to revamp their voter registration procedures and would impede the registration of eligible voters, many of whom lack ready access to documentary evidence of citizenship. This is great news, of course, especially for women across the country who were worried this would block them from having the right to vote. Any Trump loss is a good one, but this one is truly important, especially for the rights of anyone, being able to vote. There was a huge worry that spouses who changed their name to their partner's their last name to their partner's last name, wouldn't be able to vote because of this. And, thankfully, as long as there isn't anything filed against it, this won't be the case. So overall, this is a win for the American people, and this is a win for the rights of voters throughout the country. Moving back into the LA protests, Marines have officially moved into LA. 200 Marines have officially moved into Los Angeles and reportedly will protect federal property and personnel. Major General Scott Sherman, commander of Task Force 51, who is overseeing the troops in LA, said on Friday that the Marines finished their training on civil disturbance and would take over operations. Sherman said, "I would like to emphasize that soldiers will not participate in law enforcement activities. Rather, they'll be focused on protecting federal law enforcement personnel." This is going to make things worse. LA will not back down, nor should they. The actions of this administration are unlawful and unjust. If we allow Trump to get away with this, nothing stops him from continuing to go after other cities and populations. So please, continue to make your voices heard. LA will not be the stick that falls. I believe that's a different word, but I don't remember the specific one. Anyways, LA won't be, the first one to fall, and it won't be one to fall at all. Historically, California has fought back against unjust and oppressors, and today and never will be the day that we allow that to happen. California is an important state and a great state. We are the fourth largest economy in the world, and we are by far the strongest state overall. If it comes to be, California could be much more successful without the United States. That is for sure. And I wouldn't put it past anyone for starting an independence movement if this administration is going to continue to attack Californians and their rights, because this is not okay and it shouldn't happen. Truly, I am not all the way for an independence movement for California. I believe it is an essential part of the United States, and I believe all states should remain part of the United States. But California is a strong state and could be a strong country. They likely would become higher than, the fourth largest economy in the world if they were their own country, because the United States wouldn't be holding them back. But, that is for another day to decide, and, other people to decide, of course. But, whatever is best for Californians, I believe will be best for us. As a Californian, I strongly, support any actions taken by, our locals and state governments to protect our citizens and my fellow Californians, because I don't believe we should be attacked. I don't believe that we should be seeing this unjust. It's been very clear that the protesters are not the problem. It is the government. And if these attacks don't stop, something needs to be done. And independence is probably one of the best options. Anyways, moving on, Marines have detained a U.S. citizen. Marines have detained a civilian after claiming they wouldn't assist in law enforcement activities. This is the first known instance of Marines being deployed by Trump. Marines deployed by Trump detaining citizens. The incident took place at the Wilshire Federal Building, where Marines took charge of protecting the building at noon today. Marcos Leo was the citizen detained and a former Army vet. He was reportedly on a way to an office of the Department of Veterans Affairs when he crossed a yellow tape boundary. Leo said, talking to reporters, that they were just doing his job and he was treated fairly. I think I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. I lied, I think. Okay, if I sneeze, my apologies, but I think I'm good. Seemingly, this was just an accident, but, they did say soldiers wouldn't participate in law enforcement activities, so I am worried about this. If this becomes a regular occurrence, I believe we have a problem, but I think we're good if this was just overall a misunderstanding. It just depends, what happens next. It really does. Moving right on into our other news segment today, the final segment for tonight. The first topic we have today is Pope Leo's first bishop in the U.S. is taking action against the Trump administration. The first U.S. bishop, appointed by Pope Leo the 14th or 15th, one of the two, has called for priests, deacons, and parish leaders to accompany migrants to court and stand in solidarity with them. Reverend Michael Pam, who was named the Bishop of San Diego, wrote in a letter about the action on Wednesday, along with two other religious leaders. They wrote, on the morning of June 20th, which is International Refugee Day, a group of priests and faith leaders are planning to visit federal court building to stand in solidarity with migrants who are making their court appearances. As known, Pope Leo has largely been against the Trump administration and their actions, so this likely won't be the first time we see something like this. I love this idea. I think it's very smart for religious leaders to be there and be involved. You know, many people going through these situations are likely religious and probably Catholic, so it's important for them to be backed and supported by the ones that they trust. It's good to see Pope Leo and his fellow leaders support communities, especially throughout the United States when our communities are actively being destroyed and attacked. Moving right on into our final segment for today, we have some horrifying news as a Florida sheriff has threatened to kill violent protesters. Florida sheriff has warned protesters that law enforcement would kill them if they tried to become violent towards deputies. Not joking. Brevard County Sheriff Maine Ivy said in a news conference, "If you hit one of us, you're not going to hospital or jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family of where to collect your remains because we will kill you. Graveyard, dead. We're not going to play." Threatening to kill Americans for their First Amendment right is insane. It's crazy and it is disgusting. Yes, protests should be peaceful, but law enforcement shouldn't be making claims like this. It is just going to make the situation worse. I mean, are you stupid? Are you dumb? We're just creating problems between each other, and law enforcement and the Trump administration are actively making it worse. I mean, there are videos of law enforcement destroying their video. There are more videos of law enforcement destroying their own property than there are of protesters being bad or being violent. I mean, you can go on TikTok and scroll for like 10 minutes and you can see videos of LAPD officers destroying their own cars and blaming it on protesters. Yet, we're here and we have law enforcement continuing to threaten protesters and attack protesters for being violent when it is not the protesters who are being violent. And the ones who are a small majority and likely federal agents. I mean, that's what we've been warned about since the start. Anyone who is committing actions of violence probably isn't a protester, and you should walk away from them because it's probably a Fed trying to create or stir an issue. I mean, why? What is the point? Why are we doing this? It's unfortunate. So many of these people involved with the Trump administration or MAGA supporters are not realizing how their actions and statements affect people. You know, if only they would have been taught from a young age how to treat people how they want to be treated. But of course, I guess we all didn't learn that in kindergarten, did we? I mean, that is one of the first things I learned in kindergarten. I remember that from kindergarten. Did you guys not learn it in kindergarten? Let me know. This is crazy. We're threatening to kill American citizens. When has that ever been okay? When has it ever been okay for the government to attack American citizens? When has it ever been okay for the government to threaten to kill American citizens? Never. That is dictatorship right there. That is not the United States. That is a dictatorship. What has happened to the United States of America where we are threatening to kill our citizens, where we are threatening to attack our citizens? What is going on? What is happening in this country? It's not okay. It needs to end. This administration is evil. It is attacking our people, and it needs to stop. With that being said, thank you everyone for watching this video. Bit of a rant to end that off, but that's kind of just how they go when I get a little upset sometimes. My apologies. Hope you all enjoyed. If you're on YouTube, please consider subscribing. Dropping a like, dropping a comment down below on your takes or thoughts on these situations. I always do appreciate your guys' comments. So thank you all so much for everyone who drops a comment, lets me know their take. Truly means the world to me. Thank you all so much, and it boosts the video. So help me out. Drop a comment, drop a like, maybe repost it or share it with your friends. But we're on our way to 500 subscribers on YouTube, so hopefully we can get there by the end of the summer. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. If you're on Substack, please consider pledging your support. All funds go to me. I'm going to college soon. I believe I'm flying out August 13th. So I think I'll maybe take a day or three, in that time, to kind of resituate myself, figure out the situation and all of that. But yeah, consider pledging your support. All funds go to me. They'll help me pay for the things that I'll need to pay for in college, like food, water. But you don't gotta pay for water. I don't know why I always say that, but clothing, you guys get the gist. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. Truly, I really do appreciate all forms of support on this content. Wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you all so much. But yeah, with that being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in tomorrow's episode. Later.